Welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDOstream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and I'll be with you for the next hour, hanging out. I'll be doing some questing in Magic and Mythal. I'll have a little bit of news about what we've got in the works, but got a few bigger announcements that aren't quite ready to get here yet. And so I don't know that I've got a lot of big breaking news today. We have a cat who is not happy with the fact that I am live streaming today, I guess. Alright, well, fine. I'm just real quick. I'm having a bit of a problem with XSplit, but it's being very slow today. Alright, here's my scene. Sorry about that. I wanted to get to a news scene here real quick. There we are. Alright, so what do I have in terms of news here for the week? Not a ton, except that I might have Severlin join me next Friday. Stay tuned, TBD. I need to check with Sev to see what his availability is at 4 o'clock next Friday, but if everything goes along the track that we're hoping it goes in the coming, say, 3 to 4 days, we're working to get a preview up of our 64-bit server, similar to what we did over on the Lord of the Rings Online side. And we're getting close to being able to have some news about that, but we're not quite there yet. We need to do some more checks to make sure that it really the next phase of the project is a go. And assuming that that comes in next week, then we may have more to say by the end of next week about our 64-bit project on the Dungeons & Dragons Online side. But if not, then it may be a few weeks yet before we hear something, but we'll see. We'll know more ourselves in, say, the next 3 to 5 days or so. So stay tuned on that. But it could be a pretty exciting end of week next week if everything cooks along and we are able to break a little news about the 64-bit server work that we've been doing. I know Severlin's been in the DDO Discord of late talking a little bit about that, and I'm hoping to have him on the show then to talk about that as well. All right. I mean, in some ways, the news is already out of the bag because we know about the 64-bit server coming, but at the same time, we'll be able to provide, hopefully, a little more detail about what's in store when we're ready. And then, of course, the whole goal here, the point, is to get it up on Lamania, using the Lamania game client, I should say, to be in a position to do a stress test for it soon. The idea would be you'll just download the Lamania client. You won't actually be logging into Lamania per se, but you'll use the Lamania launcher to log into the 64-bit server, and we'll stress things out. We sure did on the Lotra side. I got to be a part of it, and but at the same time, it'll give us a sense of how things are going and where we sit on the 64-bit server project. So, should be a pretty exciting time. I wanted to call out that time is running out. You have a little bit of time yet, but time is running out to pick up your Draconic Raiders reward box. You have about a week and a half or so to claim your boxes. You don't need to open them yet, but you should claim them before the end of September 24th. And this is the latest of our Year of the Dragon gifts. We have the next one coming in about a week and a half here, so 2 weeks from last Wednesday. And there we go. What is next? What is next in the Raiders reward box? It is the Prismatic Dragon outfit. So that'll be coming in a couple of weeks here, too, to claim with Zathrall and the Eberron Hall of Heroes. So do make sure you get that Raiders reward box while you still can. All right. Next bit of news is that this is your final weekend to pick up Otto's boxes in the DDO store. You can get Heroic, Epic, and Improved Epic in the DDO store through Sunday, September 15th. So you might want to do that before, if you're interested in any of these things that I just talked about, or Night Revels, or Past Lives, or other things that are coming here in the coming weeks. This weekend also we have a 25% crafting XP boost through September 15th. In terms of event news, I do have one event to announce here, which is that Crystal Cove is going to be coming back. It's going to be kicking off next Thursday, starting roughly, well, I don't know, we have it set for, I believe, about 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. I think it'll probably not be that, maybe a little later than that. But Crystal Cove is going to be debuting on Thursday, September 19th, and it'll run through Sunday, September 29th. So, debut on Thursday, run through that weekend, go all the next week, run through that weekend, and then get shut off. And it's going to get shut off just, at least on the current calendar, just a few days before Night Revels opens for the year. And Night Revels is going to have some new loot. And, yeah, I guess it's gotten enough testing. I'll say it, a new quest is coming for Night Revels this year as well. We had a preview of our raid recently. That was this week as well. The raid preview happened on Lamania, and that seemed to be going pretty well. We got some good feedback they're going to work to iterate on, and the new raid will be hitting the live game worlds here in a matter of weeks. It won't be like next week or anything, but it'll be coming fairly soon too, with the release most likely of update 69.3 is where we have the raid slated, and that's tentatively set for early October as well. Whether it's October 2nd or a week, maybe even a couple weeks after that, we'll see. But that's the current plan. Is the raid will arrive in early October, and it'll arrive along with Night Revels, and Night Revels will go really through the month of October. Crystal Cove debuts next Thursday, runs through the end of September. All right, I think that is the news. So let's get in some questing here. And I'll take a look at chat as well. If I can see your chat around a certain kitty. Okay. Yep, Talk Like a Pirate Day is the reason that Crystal Cove comes back. I don't know why we care so much about Talk Like a Pirate Day, but it's been that way for so many years now. Why would we want to rock the boat on it? So Crystal Cove is coming back for Talk Like a Pirate Day. Thank y'ar very much. I have been keeping a list of quests to run and quests which I have not yet run. So we're going to keep cooking along in the live stream about quests that have not yet been run. And I have not actually run, I believe. I think, it's Tirantar's Hall, that's Death Hosts This Banquet, right? I think that's the one. Anyway, I've not run that quest yet, so that's my first goal, is to hit a quest I haven't run. I think it'll be that one. Hello, Calabano. Nice to see you. 2 Crystal Coves in a year. Yeah, we really just brought it back in, I guess it was July, because why not? We had a little bit of a lull and players asking for it, and it made sense to do it here before the level cap and all that hit with Ildrannath. It will not feature level 36 loot, just so that people know. Obviously, we're not level 36 yet. That's Night Revels. Crystal Cove does have the skill-based, because you can go up to CR 39. It does not have any new loot or any upskilled loot.
This
which is new, but
was once a banquet hall, home to countless nights of revelry.
Well, that's no good. Well, what quest do I have then? Alright, let me... Let me take care of some combat here. Maybe I'll run... I've been meaning to run last week. I didn't run Voices of the Dead, so maybe we'll run Voices of the Dead here instead. I know I've got that one to do as well. And that is... There we go. So yeah, Night Revels will most likely come with the 69.3 patch, and that'll something like, I mean, at this point I think we're looking at something like October 2nd, but it really depends on what all is happening between now and then. Alright. We ain't there yet. It's true, someone is saying, you know, like, fresh start's great and all for a new server, but what about all my past lives on my existing character on my regular server? That's true. It's true. It's not entirely unlike, say, a hardcore or whatever, but it's a little different, because this could potentially stick around. And, as someone who has multiple characters with multiple past lives and multiple servers, I feel that pain, but at the same time, yeah, you do ultimately have a choice, and you'll continue to be able to play on the regular server that you're used to with your friends and what have you, no problem. And we'll see what the future brings, right? Can we replace... So is the 64-bit server coming out as a new server? Yes. That'll be what it'll be. It'll be not dissimilar to what we did in August here, just starting, I guess it was about August 1st, on the Lord of the Rings Online side. So if you've been following any of the news over there in terms of the launch of their 64-bit server, it'll largely be based on that. And the reason why is it's been successful for us. And I think the community has generally found it successful as well. Can I give any information on the Hydra? It seemed highly suggested that it was coming in Ildrannath, but as of yet, it has not yet been seen. Was there a technical issue preventing it from coming out? Thanks.
You enter a dark chamber. The only
I don't know that we ever confirmed it was coming with Ildrannath. It was not intended for Ildrannath. To the best of my knowledge, it was never intended for Ildrannath.
where the key to the Mythal is said.
And yes, we'll have more to say.
Upon first
Not today.
inspection, you find no sign of a stairwell or door into the tomb. Perhaps the entrance is hidden away somewhere. You find a small lever in the corner of the room. Pulling it reveals a stairwell hidden beneath the floor.
Alright, now that I don't have the back end of a cat blocking my screen,
You emerge
I can
from the
actually see my
stairwell
chat
of a
again.
massive chamber, somehow left undisturbed as the city crumbled around it.
Was Hydra the big bad team in the old toy cartoon Mask? Or am I thinking of something else? Which one was Hail Hydra? I can't remember which one that was now. I think it was
Tiles
Mask.
creak beneath your
Maybe
feet.
I'm wrong.
Your breath plumes around you in the cold, musty air.
Ah, I see they've got some toasty dungeon warmers.
They slowly awaken at your presence. Shining pearlescent orbs cast dangerous spells.
Oh, Captain America. Okay, yep, that's right. Captain America, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, it was Venom. That's what it was. How could I have not remembered the Mask theme song, always riding on Venom's tail. That's what Mask is up to. They've been doing it since the 80s, man. Alright, well, so I think we did largely go through the news, which is, we're gonna have a lot of really exciting news once we can say more about the 64-bit server, but we're just not there yet. Although, it won't be that far either yet, but, you know. We'll see. We're doing things next week. If those things don't cause things to explode, we'll have a lot of news. I was watching the raid that Axel and Tavern Tales, Cozy Bean, and some others were taking part in on Tuesday for when we did our Lamania preview of the new raid. And I got to see the new raid being run by a group live on the air, as it were, and that was really cool to watch. I really enjoyed watching that raid stream preview, so I hope you dug it. If you want to get a bit of a primer on what's happening with the raid, it is a spoiler because it is on Lamania and they're running the new raid, which isn't out yet. But if you do want to learn a little bit more about it, it's a good opportunity to get a sense from Axel and crew about what to expect. I bet there's a lot of interesting history in the G.I. Joe comics. I have a very specific memory, and it's tied to a very Cordovan experience, which is me forgetting to do something obvious. However, I used to subscribe. I don't know if you were... Probably enough kids of a certain age are going to be like, oh, of course. But there's also going to be a lot of kids out there of a certain age who are no longer kids who are going to be like, no, really? And the answer is, we used to get comic books delivered by the mail. You would actually subscribe to comic books, just like you would a magazine or some junk like that. And then they would mail it to you in a plastic bag, and they'd all promise that it was going to arrive all nice and collectible, and it never did, of course. It always just looked like garbage. But that's fine, because it was cheaper. And so if you were a kid living in rural Minnesota and your parents weren't taking you to the comic shop all the time, you did it by mail. And so I used to subscribe to the G.I. Joe comic book, the one that was by Marvel for many years. And there was a very, at the time, I guess you could call it controversial storyline, although it really feels a little more like WWF-style manufactured hype. But the answer is, there was a comic book thing where... I can't think of the name. The leader of the Dreadnoughts. Whoever the leader of the Dreadnoughts was, shot Cobra Commander and killed him. And it happened in front of, like, Destro and what's her name? I can't remember now. It's been too long. But I was reading that and I loved that comic and I was like, no way. But I didn't read it until the second time around. Which is funny because the first time around the pages had gotten welded together because of the ink. And so when I turned the page, I missed the two panels where our Cobra Commander got shot. And I lent the comic to my brother, and my brother read it and he was like, oh, Cobra Commander got shot. I can't believe it. And I was like, what? Is that the most pointless story I've ever told on Lotro Stream? It's got to be up there. Alright. Alright, I think we're good. Oops. Not quite. Anyway, back when I was young and innocent, and when people died in the comics, I thought they were actually dead. Spider-Man isn't coming back. No, they said they're not going to. He's done.
You open the door into a chamber with 2
DDO
doors.
stream, you're right. The Baroness, there we go, yeah. I, too, like how you have to coordinate to get a high score in the Cove, or just be really, really good. I've seen people solo it and get all 300 bonus, but it takes a pretty coordinated, trained individual who really kind of knows their stuff to be able to pull that off. Meanwhile, it's pretty repeatable to do as a group.
Defending the lever on the back.
I like this quest, by the way. It's been pretty interesting. There is sort of a puzzle aspect to this quest that I don't think I'm going to be doing. Because you can also just sort of do all the things. Oh, no, I'm thinking not of Key to the Mythal, but, Voices of the Dead. Okay, so... Zartan, there you go. Thank you. You can tell we're all, many of us are of a certain age. In the United States, us kids at a certain era, the G.I. Joe cartoon was a very big deal. It was a different world. We didn't have the internet. And they also, the studios at that time had figured out, I assume it had probably been done prior, but it was really that era that the toy companies all figured out that if you killed off a whole bunch of characters, you could debut new characters, aka new toys. And sort of refresh your corporate revenue-generating lineup.
Flames roar to life when you enter the room. On the back
And so both G.I. Joe and Transformers did that. We killed them, and now a whole new group gotta buy. You have to. You gotta buy all the toys.
Undead enemies rise from their posts of attack.
Your old toys, they're dead. They're dead, man. You can't play with them anymore. The reason I have Sunder is I have a light damage thing I'm doing with Sunder.
As it
Okay.
dissolves into dust.
There.
You pull the lever. The purple crystal lights up, emitting a soft glow in the darkness.
It's true, the 70s, 80s era cartoons, they were simply... We didn't realize it at the time. It was just cynical corporate marketing. That's all it was. Our nostalgia, the things we love, just cynical corporate marketing. But you just sort of enjoy it anyway. Make the best of it. Useful. Alright. Where am I headed? I am going back. In some ways, it was also our first taste of the old thing was better, because it was, like you were saying, it was like Rodimus Prime. I mean, get real. I ain't buying a Rodimus Prime action figure. Will there be more patron coffers soon? What we've seen in recent weeks is a return of some of the patron coffers that we've offered to date. And I think we may see a few more come back in the upcoming months. So, a new coffer? I don't know when the next new coffer is going to be. I'm sure that we're not done with them. But I couldn't tell you if we're looking at maybe this year, early next year, something even wider. Alright, this is optional, but I've been looking forward to doing this one on stream. I may fail, because I'm not going to cheat and use a solver. I'm just going to try it. What we have here is the same puzzle that you get in the Giant Hold raid. The old heroic Giant Hold raid. It's essentially the old game Mastermind. It may have a non-trademarked name beyond that, but I know it as Mastermind. And the basic idea is you've got 10 tries to figure out what the proper positioning of all 4 of those dice in the middle are. It's numbers 1 through 6. Sometimes you'll see it with pegs and black and white. Doesn't matter, the process is basically the same. And I'm here to teach you, to the best of my ability, how to solve this the old-fashioned way and largely succeed. So, you've got numbers here on this panel here. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have it set for that. So we start by putting the number 1 all the way across. Then you pull the lever to see what the result is. Let me actually get my hirelings out of the way here, because they're kind of in the way. Okay. Then you look at the result. The result is nada. I didn't get crap. So, start with the next one. Two, 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 two. Again, doesn't look like I got really anything there. We are aware, by the way, of the bug that the lighting is different from the way it looks in Giant Hold. So we're going to have to work on some lighting or better differentiating the white and gray on this. But it looks like I haven't actually pulled any matches yet. Alright, so 1. Here we go. You can see that 1 is the black, which means it is both correct and in the correct position. It does not mean that the correct position is the first spot. It just means one of them is correct. So, well, how do you know which one is correct? Well, we've been going systemically down the row. So leave one of the 3s behind. You can start in whatever position you can remember. I just start left to right. Now we got 3, 4, 4, 4. We're going to see if that black stays where it is and nothing else changes. Then we know not only 4 isn't correct, but the 3 is where it is. However, we have got 3 correct. So that means 2 4s and a 3 are both the correct number and in the correct position. I don't know which one. So let us assume that the first correct position probably is that 3, and then 2 of the 4s are correct. This one's going to be moved to position 5. And see how I lost a black one? So that means that 4 needs to be the 4. Alright, and I had 2 that were in the right number but in the wrong space. That's what that white is about. So that means if I lost the 1 black, then that's got to be the black. And if the 5 needs to be there but it's in the wrong position, then it's simply a matter of knowing which... That is a little weird though, isn't it? Perhaps the 3's in the wrong position, but we'll figure that out. I've got 5 to go here, so let's try this. 3, 5, 4, 4.
The last orb glows
That's where
in
we
the
enter.
correct color.
There you go.
Hidden
That's how you do it. So you can, even if you don't have a wiki solver or whatever, if you just use a little bit of kind of process logic to it, you can, in most cases, solve this every time in fewer than 10 moves. Sometimes it gets a little nerve-wracking, and if you have a couple positions that show up and then new positions that show up, it can confuse you and maybe you'll get it wrong. But for the most part, as long as you stick to this process, you too will be able to do what you need to do. Isn't that right, Lizzie? Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I like this. I've always enjoyed Mastermind. I used to play with it as a kid, speaking of things that we did in the 80s. And I kind of learned that process as a kid, and it was perhaps one of my first exposures to that kind of puzzle-solving logic. And so I was always thrilled when it hit in DDO, but I was always, for a long time, I was kind of afraid to just sort of do it in the raid, because I didn't want people to screw it up and then have people be like, dwarf, you know? So I would just let people use their solvers. But now that it's in a quest here, you too can become a Mastermind champion. It's one of those puzzle games that as long as you know the secret, you can pretty much always win. So as a old 80s tabletop game, it's pretty limited. And that once you know what you're doing, there's really not much gameplay left, but it was real hot for a long time. Can you ask me a question about the Barbarian Blood Tribute? It says your point... It says 1 point is 50 extra health. This is true, I tested it. It says 2 points is 100 extra health, temp hit points, but it still only gives me 50, not 100. Are you doing something wrong? Perhaps. One thing to try, related to Barbarian Blood Tribute, is... A lot of times this isn't the case, but I bet this is the case with you, which is that once you have upgraded an enhancement, and you have spent the point to put it in your enhancement tree, drag the new enhancement rather than the old enhancement to your hotbar. I bet you're still casting the lower tier of Barbarian Blood Tribute, were I to guess. Yeah, because the only other thing that would do it is if perhaps you had some kind of same type bonus conflict, but if you're getting 50 on the first one and you spent it, then you should be getting 100. It's not like you were getting 100, but only seeing 50 because you've got 50 from another source.
You open the door into a room where more orbs place above pedestals, emitting beams of electricity that shoot up towards the
Okay,
ceiling.
so one is 1 and 3. 2 is 2 and 3. 3 is 1. So I should just be able to do 1, 2, 3, 1, I think. There we are. Okay.
They're casting.
Easy enough.
Passage
So easy my
opens
kitty
to the
could do it.
side of the room.
My kitty who was in my lap. DDO can be a little intimidating at the start, depending on your knowledge of D&D rules and MMOs and all the rest. So I'm really appreciative that you're sticking with it and learning some of these rules and quirks of DDO, of which there are a few. Thousand. And yes, it is worth it.
Spectre disappears in a shivering mist. Just by a door on the side of this room.
What was I doing? What was I getting? Oh, I wanted to ask how many of you, if any of you, have your new 2024 D&D edition books yet? I finally bit the bullet this past week, and I dropped an order for 2 physical player's handbooks and 2 digital codes. And it was really because, just sort of out of the blue at the end of the summer, my 12-year-old son, who has his birthday coming up in October, decided that he wanted to play Tabletop D&D, so I ran him through a couple of skirmishes and that, and he loved it. And so he's been playing D&D with his mom and friends and other people, and we're going to be getting going on Fantasy Grounds, I think, virtually. And he's got a birthday coming up, so good time to pick up that brand new handbook, is it not? So I finally dropped the cash, and I pre-ordered both the physical and digital. I figured as long as we're all hooked into D&D Beyond and everything anyway, might as well just get the digital version too, right? So I went and did that this past week, and I got the shipping notice, I guess it was yesterday, that my order was on the way. So, but I happen to know a certain coffee-drinking artificer appreciant walked into a local FLGS, friendly local game store, and walked out with a brand new 2024 Player's Handbook ahead of its street date. So I wondered how many of you might be in that same position. Apparently there's some kind of like variant cover floating around as well. Okay, what am I doing? Unlock the large door, 1 left, find out where to place the icons. I probably need to go... Where do I probably need to go? This way. So I'm hoping I pick it up sooner rather than later, and I can start pouring through the books. I did make it to Gen Con this year, so I didn't get to see it. I've read some of the preview books and things like that, but I'm really looking forward to digging further into this. And also, can I get through here? I can't, right? My kitty is very upset with me because it is a beautiful late summer day. And I am not taking her outside. Okay, I need to get through this door. I see a corner. There must be a lever I just missed. So, let me do a cycle back where I came from. I feel like I'm more likely to have missed it behind me than ahead of me. No lever, no lever, no lever. Alright. Oh, I don't think I want... Did I go this way? Yep, because here's this room. Okay. And that's done. Oh, Here we are. Okay.
A signal crystal is embedded in the wall above this door. You found a dimension door. It will return you to the entrance of the tomb once you have finished exploring this wing.
That's a good question. I have not really... I guess I've seen the thumbnail of the DM's guide, but I didn't look close enough. I don't really... The cover of the new player's handbook doesn't really excite me all that much. I think it looks great, but just conceptually, I don't know. Like it that much. I have one left. Okay, well... Now which way do I need to go? I'm back here. I'm going to save that back corner again. Maybe I screwed up. Double check here just in case. Nope. Okay. Okay, I did get that lever. And, oh, here we go. Okay, nice. This is what I missed. Okay. And there we are.
Gargoyles perches on a ledge in this wide room.
Hey, I'm not afraid of you gargoyles.
It matches the one on the gigantic door at the king's entrance. The gargoyles rouse from their slumber and lunge towards you.
So I'm really looking forward to playing the both tabletop and virtual tabletop with my son here in the coming months on the new edition of the rules. Good time for him to kind of onboard and learn the game. You know, he's grown up with all the rules, so like the concept of charisma, strength, and all the rest is not foreign to him, and he's also in the last year or so gotten into 4X tabletop games and things too. So he's a pretty advanced kid, as a many a game dev kid, video game industry kid might be. But he himself had not really expressed interest in playing tabletop until just this summer. So it was very exciting for a dad like me. So.
You return to the front hall. The giant door has been opened, revealing a stairwell leading deeper into the tomb. You emerge into a dark hallway. Shield guardians stand at attention.
So, just a little bit about my personal life here. I'm going to be taking a week off in October here. So there'll be I think just one show that's going to be a no-show in mid-October. And again, it's for my son's birthday. I'm heading to his place to hang with him and take him camping and do some things like that. Thrice the icons take their seats, for when they come to rest, the path of the key yawns open.
There are 3 locations in the tomb where you can place the icon of the elves, the icon of the humans, and the icon of the dwarves. 2 passages to the left and right rumble open.
No, we're doing
You walk into
light
a temple
camping.
to
We're doing the kind of camping that you bring your PC with you. We're going to like a KOA, and that we've done this for years. It's just it's during his school break and happens to coincide every year around his birthday. And we just go rent a KOA for usually a 3-night stay, and just hang out in the pool. Even though it's October in Georgia. It's plenty warm. And so we use the pool and boat and lounge around, play our video games. I think we are bringing the D&D stuff. I think it's going to be a very D&D focused camping trip. One of the things I like about that KOA is it's not like hiking, you know, wilderness camping. It's just kind of fun, lounge around and hang out camping. And they've got a refrigerator that you can use and store your food and keep things cool. And they've got a electric stove that you can use. And so I don't have to, just in terms of trucking stuff in and what have you. It's a fun, casual, chilled out time. It's good. I suppose any people who aren't in the United States are going to be KOA. So there's an old corporate chain of. It's not exactly a campground, but it's not an RV site either. It's somewhere halfway in between, and they're called Campgrounds of America. They really became popular with the rise of the interstate system in the United States in, what, the 1940s and 50s. But they're all over the place. They're pretty convenient. I assume Europe's got its equivalent, I just don't know what it would be called. Like, we'll do real, quote, real camping, where you've got to truck in your stuff and there are no running water bathrooms, etc. But that's not this. This is just hanging out on a long weekend celebrating a birthday.
A pedestal stands on a platform here. You spy a locked door in the back of the room. You set the icon of the elves atop the pedestal. Its eyes flash white for a moment, before dimming.
Okay. Bring back Howard Johnson's? Yeah, they were fun. They were also a very iconic part of that era of American leisure travel. I remember playing, I have a very, very distinct memory of playing the old Nintendo arcade game Kangaroo at a Howard Johnson's in, I think, Ohio when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. Yeah, it's funny, you know, my son is going to officially become a teenager here in a few short weeks. And when I purchased the car, I had to purchase a new car over the summer. And when I purchased that car, it occurred to me, it was like, he's probably going to be driving this car. He's probably going to be driving this car. And that was quite the thought as a father, to think about your baby. He's only like, what, 5? No? Driving your new car. Yeah, like those Holiday Inn holodomes. That was good stuff. Good stuff. I actually don't think I need to teach my kid how to drive. I mean, I kind of do. I do, right? He already knows how to drive. And it's called video games. I mean, he doesn't know the reality of sitting with a steering wheel, but he doesn't have to worry about a clutch. You know, that doesn't exist anymore, really. And, so, like, this idea of him having to learn difficult driving or whatever, it's like, no, not really. I think he pretty much already... in an emergency, let's just say there was some super emergency, and it was like, the family's life depends on you doing X, Y, and Z, right? He could totally do it. I have full confidence that my son could get in my car, start it up, figure out how to get somewhere, get there, and not cause a crash. I mean, you say Mario Kart isn't like real driving, but have you driven in Boston?
You open the door,
But...
a room full of dirt. Pedestal stands before the entrance.
That's true. We probably, you know, I remember actually having a conversation with him not all that long ago where he was like, well, it's probably going to be self-driving by the time I turn 16 anyway. And maybe not. I don't know that in the United States we'll all be driving fully self-driving cars by the time in just a few short years. I think it's probably going to be 10 years maybe before we do that. Maybe even 15. We'll see. But he does have a point. He does have a point. Maybe this whole idea of teenagers needing to learn to drive is going to be a non-issue. Okay. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going. Not that way. Almost certainly. To the middle? Okay. Yep, here we go. Okay. Maybe? No, that's just the same tunnel there. So, that's actually just where I came in, wasn't it? Alright. Well. Oh, wait a second. I think I remember. Maybe? Okay. Thanks, I think I got it now. Statue room on the far right. No problem, that I can do. I learned how to drive on a stick shift myself. I don't think it's that difficult. I think anyone can learn it. You just gotta practice it. I actually, when I was shopping for a car over the summer, I did drive one car that had a stick shift, and it was a Mini Cooper. They're still apparently coming in manual transmissions, and there's a few others, but not many. Not many. And they're all, like I say, they're all semi-autonomous driving at the very least. Which is sweet.
You emerge into a calm clearing. Forest animals have taken up residence here.
Hello, forest
They
animals.
graze and doze in its lush corners. You see two passages, one to your left, the other straight ahead. This room is the heart of the tomb, where the key to the Mythal is rumored to be hidden. Before you is a strange magic device. It must have been waiting here, undiscovered for centuries. A wild bear runs out of the room, startled by your intrusion. How strange. You sense a faint drift of power ebbing from the artifact. Could this be the key to the Mythal? Something happens when you touch the artifact. The room shakes. The statues against the walls rumble.
So you've been looking to join a guild for the past couple days. You're on Argo. You've asked in general chat while in Marketplace and asked in general chat while in the harbor. You have not yet had replies. Is there a better place to look? Why, thank you, Cyber Knight. You're giving me a softball here. And the answer is yes. Have I got a good place for you as a newer player to find a guild? And that is our newly opened DDO Discord. There's a section there for guilds and recruitment, and I've been seeing all sorts of people posting in there. So if in-game isn't working for you, might I suggest the Discord? There's also the forums. We do have guild recruitment, including, hey, I'm just a player looking for a guild type posts. And we see those in the DDO forums as well. So whichever you prefer, Discord or the forums will get you there. I bet if you post in a Discord, you could be in a guild by the end of the weekend. But that's just... Discord's been fun. I've been enjoying it. Players seem to be enjoying it. And the development team has been getting value from it and enjoying it as well. Even Sev was in there this past week chatting. We are continuing to chat on the forums as well. I know that, not too surprisingly, there's some concerned voices on the forums about, hey, make sure you maintain communication here as well. We will, for sure. And, Kitty, you are just being the most obnoxious meowy kitty right now.
Middle of the formation steps forward.
Just as I anticipated. I knew that following you into this tomb would lead us straight to the key to the Mythal.
The figure smiles widely, rotting teeth protruding from his desiccated mouth.
So it's been good on the Discord. I've been enjoying it. I did open it up to people who really can't do the cell phone thing. You can send in a ticket to help.standingstonegames.com if you would like to.
The stranger laughs. It is a strangled, dusty sound, as if his voice has been worn down over centuries of use.
I am Druik Urgul, Zulkir of Fae.
He bends in a short bow.
Soon our forces will completely occupy this city. Once I harness the Mythal's power, I will
So,
be on...
what else should I mention?
He chokes on his own mark.
I have no use for don'ts such as yourselves, so be gone from here.
I don't plan, though, to revert the requirement to have a cell phone. At least not now. There may come a time where people convince me, and yes, I recognize that there are people who are like, I want to give Discord my cell phone. Okay.
You think about what the Zulkir said.
Don't. Don't join the Discord then. But I am doing manual verification as well for people who send in a ticket. And it has helped a lot with bots and spam and things. I got some named loot. Let's take a look at this. Legendary Periapt of Intelligence. Probably not going to help me too much, being a fighter. But Intelligence 15, Force Absorption 16, Quality Magical Sheltering 9, and a 13 Reflex with a Sun augment slot, colorless and green as well. And it's Trinket, so pretty good way to drop that intelligence stat onto perhaps a somewhat lesser used option for you there as well. That's just going to go on the bank. That's what I've got going on. Oh my gosh. Well, since we are so insistent, how about I let you do the sign off here today, Miss Elizabeth Bennett. Thank you so much for watching Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'll be back next Friday with 4 with more. We could have Sev on. We could have news and questing. We'll see what we end up doing. We've got a lot of exciting news about the 64-bit server and beyond in the coming weeks, and Night Revels and Crystal Cove to look forward to. These shows do get up on YouTube as well, so if you're on YouTube and you would be willing to give us a like or a subscribe, we would really appreciate it. Subscribing will get these videos in your feed. And on behalf of the kitty that is insistent I feed her and or take her outside rather than do what I'm currently doing, I'm going to sign off. And I hope you have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.